Montreal and Ottawa, two iconic cities each with its own story, culture, and spirit. Which one really delivers? On the left, Montreal, the vibrant cultural hub with its energetic nights and diverse communities. And on the right, Ottawa, the stable government capital known for its quality infrastructure and inclusive lifestyle. Let's skip the buzzwords and get to the real stuff. Each category earns points, and at the end you'll see exactly who comes out on top. The result might not be what you expect. Here, how we're gonna compare these two cities just so you know the game plan. We'll look at the cost of living, urban culture and nightlife, transportation and infrastructure, housing and stability, multiculturalism and inclusion, public order and safety, the food scene, and oh yeah, parks and recreation. So get those mental gears turning. Kicking things off with cost of living because honestly, who doesn't check their wallet before deciding where to live? So, Montreal is actually about 4% cheaper overall compared to Ottawa. If you're saving on rent, groceries, even clothing and getting a better deal on transportation, I mean, that's huge. But heads up, you might get a little price shock buying, I don't know, toothpaste or shampoo, personal care stuff is a whopping 41% pricier in Montreal. Still, if affording the basics matters most to you, Montreal definitely wins this one. Ottawa's solid if you're after government benefits and better housing prospects in a couple years, but Montreal edges ahead for now. Let's talk urban culture and nightlife. I've gotta say, Montreal is electric after dark. The nightlife? Absolutely wild, new restaurants showing up every week, art everywhere, underground shows, festivals, you name it. Sometimes, honestly, it's almost too much, and yeah, there's construction everywhere and venue closures, but the city just has that energy. Now, Ottawa is kinda, well, making efforts here. They literally have a night mayor to spice things up, a website dedicated to what you're doing after hours, and sure, events like Air Commune are popping up. But it does feel more planned. You're not exactly stumbling onto a late-night jazz club in every neighborhood. So, for culture and nightlife, Montreal is the clear winner. Sorry, Ottawa. Moving on to transportation and infrastructure. So, this is where things flip. Montreal, look, the public transit is better and tons of places are walkable. You don't need a car to get everywhere, which is awesome. But have you seen those roads? The potholes are basically famous. The infrastructure kinda feels like it's always falling apart and people in Montreal are not quiet about it. Ottawa though, yeah, you kinda need a car and downtown can get way too crowded. But the roads are great, everything feels maintained and the whole system works. So in this round, the win goes to Ottawa for making sure you can actually get places without breaking an axle. Oh, and here's something cool. Did you know Montreal is actually Canada's second largest city by population, but Ottawa is the capital? Both have francophone energy but in really different ways. They're two unique worlds basically sitting side by side. Next, housing and stability. Alright, Montreal, you look good up front because rents are lower and there are more affordable places, but don't get too excited. Prices have been rocketing up and honestly the housing crisis on the streets is hard to ignore. Unstable rentals, visible homelessness, just kind of tough to plan around. Ottawa, on the other hand, is gonna see rents ease over the next couple of years. They're building more units, things just feel a bit more predictable. For anyone who wants stability and a shot at planning their life, Ottawa takes it here. Switching gears to multiculturalism and inclusion, which honestly is a really big deal in both cities but for very different reasons. Montreal is famously diverse with communities speaking all sorts of languages, especially French, and the cultural scene is rich. And it's a big but laws like Bill 101 and 21 kinda, complicate things. Lots of political tension around language and symbols that frankly not everyone loves. In Ottawa, multiculturalism is basically policy. You can live bilingual life without really thinking about it, and the city leans more open and inclusive without the politics. Might not have as wild a mix of heritage, but you avoid the headaches. Ottawa wins this round for being drama-free about diversity. Now, public order and safety. Montreal has an amazing, lively street atmosphere, tons to do outdoors and active neighborhoods. But I gotta be real, there's very visible drug use and dealing, and the street conditions in popular spots can be rough, even kinda sketchy in places. Ottawa keeps things more contained. The police are proactive, you see more support services around, and downtown just feels safer at night. There are still challenges, but if you wanna feel secure, Ottawa is gonna win here. Alright foodies, listen up. Montreal's food scene is honestly legendary. Bagels, delis, a zillion restaurants. Every time you think you've tried it all, a new spot opens. Sure, it's getting a bit expensive and some old favorites are closing, but you cannot beat that eating experience. Ottawa's making a name for itself too, especially in baking and some cool new places opening up, but it's not quite in Montreal's league yet. For food and dining, yeah, Montreal wins, sorry not sorry. Last category, parks and recreation. Montreal does have great urban parks and cultural spaces, but if you're all about that nature outdoor lifestyle, Ottawa is your spot. Ottawa's pretty much overflowing with green spaces and outdoor activities, kayaking, hiking, whatever. It's more about fresh air than street festivals. So for parks and getting outside, Ottawa takes this one. If you mapped all these categories out like some kinda radar chart, you'd see Montreal spiking for food, nightlife, and cost, but Ottawa just quietly scoring big for stability, infrastructure, safety, and nature. So here's my take. If you're in it for the energy, the unbeatable food, late nights, and you want something affordable, even if things get a bit messy, you'll love Montreal. If you want predictability, solid infrastructure, safer neighborhoods, and you like your diversity without drama, Ottawa has your back. I mean, both have their quirks, but it really depends on what you want more. Thinking about making a move to Canada? Go ahead and share this breakdown so your friends can make a smarter pick too.